Artelize, the world of performing arts in one location.
So, hello everyone, and welcome again to another episode of the Artelize Podcast. Today, I am actually truly delighted to have an awesome guest with me, and I would say you don't really need introductions, Donagh Collins. So,
Thank
welcome.
you.
But so I will ask you to really to tell me something that we don't know about you yet to start this beautiful episode.
Well, it's lovely to be here. Thank you. I'm sure I need some introduction. No, I mean, look, I suppose one thing that's interesting about my past is the reason I work in this business at all really is because of really being in youth orchestra. I think youth orchestras has been my way into not just musical life, but into teenage life, into adolescent life, into growing as a person and as an adult. And I think as I grow a career in my case in artist management and in the music management side, I think the experiences that I had as a young cellist in youth orchestra and the experiences that I still have through the work that we do with youth orchestras all over the world, which indeed we might touch on further today, has always been a big inspiration for me. So I always remember those days when I was, I'm from Dublin, in Ireland, and when I was playing in the 9th desk or 11th desk of cellos at my first Dvorak symphony or my first Sibelius symphony, whatever it might be. These are formative memories,
God.
you never forget them. And what a privilege.
Yes. And I was really impressed. We had a little interview with you in January, and I was really impressed with your this really aliveness that you have and the passion and the enthusiasm that you really it's palpable when you talk especially about this beautiful industry, which is so complicated but so attaching somehow. And exactly because of what you said, it really offers emotions that are probably uncomparable to other things. And yes, actually the experience you had in your teens with the orchestras, I think I read somewhere that you were really always fond of how music could bring people together despite their background. I thought that was really a beautiful concept.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I think it's important to remember what a joy is to find a professional journey through the world of music in whatever form. In my case, in the classical music genre, and being able to find a livelihood in helping and representing and advocating for great artists. For me, it happens to be joyous to be able to facilitate others and to be able to, as it were, be on the side of the stage. I'm not really somebody who's looking myself for the limelight. It's to know that I've helped to make that tour, that moment, that concert, particularly special. That has always given me such joy. And as you said, Paola, the bringing together of people through the medium of music is just the most extraordinary thing. And I think surely if we learned anything from the pandemic, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about the importance of the digital sphere and the importance of how to reach people in their homes. But I think we also learned a lot about the importance of the live space, the importance of that moment when you're in an opera house or a concert hall, and that bringing together of people at the service of the repertoire and the artist that you're experiencing in that live moment. And for me, the pandemic really brought home the importance of that work and the joy that moment gives us all.
Absolutely. There's a lot to reflect on after such an incredible, event, I would say. And I think that actually this is a beautiful concept, first of all, but it also reflected a little bit in the pivotal change that also you had with, exactly your CEO of Askonas Holt and Opus 3, but also now you're under the umbrella of San Francisco Conservatory of Music and together with a music label, Pentaton. So really, this that you were saying, you also are able to put into action by joining forces and bringing actually the tradition with the new, and also new vision, probably also in the way you do business now compared to before. And then we're going to, of course, talk about the digital. But I would like, maybe you to expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, with great pleasure. Yes, I mean, so it's true that we are part of a larger ecology now, and we wanted to do that because we wanted to be able to be part of the educational space. Let's face it, that's where the next generation of student and indeed of audience is going to come from. We wanted to get closer to the recording side, as you said, with the label Pentatone as a sister company. And we wanted new challenges and new dimensions as we came out of the pandemic. We wanted to be able to think about how we can do things differently, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, today. How we can, of course, not get away from the fact that we're, as I just said, representing artists who travel the world and perform on the live stage. But we're also trying to think about how we can do more, how we can diversify what we do, how we can understand how to make decisions into the future, how we can scout for talent into the future. What is the talent of tomorrow? Who are the audiences of tomorrow? How are we going to face up to some of the real challenges around fundraising and supporting our art form into the future, which is not getting any easier despite our great confidence in what we do and what we believe in. So this alliance that we have together, as you said, with the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, with the great label Pentatone, and also with the artist management company Opus 3 Artists, which is based in New York, and which I also now serve as chief executive of. And so there's a great ability for us to be able to use all of those dynamics, different cultures, different perspectives at the service of the artists for whom we work.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. I would say a lot of work, I imagine,
Yes,
to prepare.
yeah,
And
it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of different perspectives, which I'm really enjoying. Different cultures, it's an artist manager company based out of New York works in a different way and has a different culture from a company in London. The conservatory, obviously, at its center is an educational institution, but it's also a place which has great expertise in terms of fundraising and building funds, which they need, of course, going forwards. But it's also a place of resource, a place of physical resource, with their recording studios, recital spaces. If they have students who are specifically dedicated to the technological side of things, and finding positions working in gaming companies and virtual reality, and artificial intelligence platform going forward. So we're also trying to understand those concentric circles that are around our business, which only help to amplify, I think, what we're doing and help to build us.
Yeah, and by the way, that's what actually got us also in touch, right? And that was the reason, because at Artelize we exactly try to cover these aspects. So in order to create an infrastructure that, as you just said, connects the dots of all this, I would say, very, very multifaceted entity that now we need all of it. I mean, it used to be a little bit more scattered and separated. And now, as you said, it's probably the time has come to see that as a one resource. But of course, you need to be able to manage all the aspects of it.
Exactly.
So amazing.
Exactly. And I think that leads us really beautifully into this idea of the artist-audience relationship into the future. It's something we talked about when we spoke before, and I think it's a really interesting area. I mean, in a really, really simplistic way, who are the artists of the future? Who are the audiences of the future? How do we prepare ourselves for that future? We want to be representing the next generation of conductors, great singers, great instrumentalists. But we also want to be helping to understand how audiences want to change, how they want things to be maybe presented in new ways, how they want to be able to have repertoire that's of course might go right back to medieval repertoire, Baroque repertoire, and all the way through the ages. But it maybe also is sometimes interspersed or presented in a way that's more of today, or in this case of tomorrow, and gives the presenter communities around the world. We give them an opportunity to present great artists maybe in a different way, or we're, for example, doing a lot more work these days on the sort of production values around how we present artists, maybe presenting artists in a format where we bring together different genres or different themes or a narrative,
Yeah.
such that there's sometimes more than simply a recital or a concert, but maybe it's a concert that it focuses on something specific. I can give you some examples, maybe. We work for Elisa Wallerstein, the great American cellist.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, she found herself really thinking about the 6 suites, the six Bach cello suites, of course, which are sacrosanct and, there for the ages. But she, in the way that she related to COVID and dealt with her particular situation during those times, she found herself thinking about how she could commission composers to compose short pieces which were specifically commissioned to fit between specific movements of each suite. And she put together a project called Fragments, which therefore is across the 6 suites with interspersed works between each movement in each suite. And she has, with our support, I think she'd be the first to recognize, we've put together a little production around each suite, such that they have a set, they have a costume, there's lighting, and we can present, therefore, those Bach suites in a way which this great artist wanted to do, but we can make that real, and we can produce it, we can sell it to the promoter community around the world. And it's a great way for presenters to say, yeah, we want to present the Bach suites, but in a new and different way. And I hope that's a way also to celebrate the amazing compositions of today, but with reference to some of the great repertoire of the past. So that's, I think, maybe one example. Another would be working with the great mezzo-soprano Joyce Donato, who's put together amazing projects over the last phase and pre-pandemic indeed. Working with the Italian Baroque ensemble Il Pomodoro, fantastic ensemble.
Yes.
Yeah,
Amazing.
based in Venice, and she's worked with them. In the first case, she put together a program called In War and Peace, which is around the theme of war and peace, but again, produced in a way with choreography, with lighting, with a sense of ambience, which just really helped to amplify the subject matter in Ant. And it was so popular, not just because of Joyce's great talent and because of the work of Il Pomodoro, but because it just brought that repertoire to life in a new and different way and brought together themes and ideas and audiences. And since then, there's been another iteration of that idea, which has been a big project called Eden, a similar idea, but this time based on the theme of Eden, Mother Nature. And again, we toured this project around the world. Now, these projects are not, they're not without complication to bring together. They're not without complication to pay for. They're expensive with all of these new elements. So this is the tension that we always have in our businesses: how to create great product, but also make it possible to produce it and to make it available to the promoter community.
That is actually a great point, and we can address this new, I would say, relationship, the closeness that we experience now between the audience and the artist. It used to be like this massive distance between the public and the big star, and now it's actually quite the contrary. And don't you think that this could also lead to, of course, if organized, arranged, and also, monitor in a certain way, because of course it cannot be just left at casualty. But if the audience, exactly, being so close to the artist, might have a chance to support directly with donation those kind of projects together with other source of funding, I think as also an audience member, I would do it if I had my my great hero or exactly offering to bring to life such an incredible project. That could be maybe something that we could explore.
I think that's a fascinating topic. And I think there was to start at the beginning, I think there were some artists who still would have no interest in this area. The great Kirill Petrenko, that of course we'll all know is the chief conductor of the Berlin Philharmonic. I don't know whether he would be interested to do a big campaign on X or TikTok around the work that he does. Maybe he would prefer to express his musicality through the medium of the music, and there's some mystique around that still. Let's be honest, some of the maestros and artists of today who are somewhat still not on some of the social media channels. On the flip side, there were other artists who really enjoy expressing themselves, and you can really viscerally understand what they care about and what's coming up soon in their lives. What are the topics through the work that they do on social media. And there is definitely, I think, an opportunity to understand that better and to make more of that, as you've just been describing.
Yeah.
We took on the management just in the last couple of weeks, actually, of a very, very interesting young Hong Kong American piano player called Tiffany Poon. And she came to my attention through Sean Hickey, who's the boss of Pentatone Records, our sister company. And Sean was about to release Tiffany's first album on Pentatone, and was so impressed with her solo Schumann work. So it's really nothing like actually in that sense not new repertoire, but something relatively traditional in the choice of repertoire. But a beautiful recording. And so I got in touch with Tiffany, and so impressed by her perspective on this music and why she had chosen this particular music to perform it, to record at this stage in her career. But also, to the point of this conversation, she has incredible reach on social media channels, particularly on YouTube, where during the pandemic she did a lot of showing how she practiced a particular piece of music, really giving an insight into the mundanity in some ways of that process, but
the struggles
as well, the sort of catharticism of reaching a point where you've actually made a particular junction in a Chopin piece better, and really it obviously has made such a difference, because so many people have been following her, like hundreds of thousands of views, 50,000 subscribers, I think, on YouTube, and I think there's been nearly 3 million streams of her album since she launched it just a couple of weeks ago on Pentatone. And so I feel like when you have an artist of such interest, both in terms of their artistic excellence, but also in terms of their reach, we should be able to bring those things to bear, be able to reach out to her subscribers, her fans, and in a way also to be more athletic, to be quicker in terms of how we can present Tiffany to audiences. We don't necessarily have to wait for the usual timeline in our business, which can be like, let's wait till 2025 sixth season and my 5 per cycle. But we should be able to jump and present her to her subscriber base quickly, and have confidence that there's a huge audience out there who want to hear people perform music because they feel that performer has opened up that repertoire to them. And that repertoire might be from the 1800s. It doesn't matter. But it's fabulous music that, in this case, a rather young woman wants to perform and wants to bring to her peers. And our job is to bring together the call it maybe a more traditional network of concert halls around the world where we can present that, but bring it to the next audience, and using her reach across the many platforms in which she's so present.
So actually, as a manager, an artist manager, and by the way, you have been awarded as the best last year, right? 2023. So that's incredible. That's, a great, even more important to hear your opinion on that. You agree on the fact that exactly we still are in this period of transition. So not all the artists, especially the ones that have a different way of operating, might feel comfortable in sharing or utilizing the social media. But to me, quite frankly, personally, it seems sort of unavoidable. Like at some point, it's going to be a must to exactly do what you said, because the pace has changed basically on so many levels in everything. So to keep up to date and keep up with everything that's happening, but also having a chance to be to reach out to really grow a business is such a complicated career like the artistic one is. It's like a double-sided sword, I would say, because you suddenly need to be skilled in so many things, and it's not just your artistry. You need also to be a bit visionary. But maybe the role of a manager maybe could be also to facilitate that, as you were saying. So I understand you also probably foresee this change is gonna come at some point. Everybody with a career will need that presence, and so it's gonna be it's important to start thinking about it, right? Maybe also for the young artists upcoming that wish to exactly have an artistic
I
career.
completely agree, and not giving too much away, I guess. But one of our strategies for the future is trying to work out how we can bring together the social media reach of each and every individual that we work for, and indeed the institutions that we work for. Let's not forget, we're organizing tours for the great orchestras of the world.
Yes.
We brought the Berlin Philharmonic to Japan for a 3-week tour, Japan and Korea last November. We toured the Venezuelans all over the world with Gustavo Dudamel, where, we're blessed in terms of the international reach. So when you think about the social channels of the individual artists, the institutes they work for, and the presenting community to which we bring these artists, there's a rich seam there, I think, in how we can help. So if you present a particular artist to a consul, you can also help to make sure that you can bring with the artist their virtual digital links as much as their artistic excellence, and we all need this help to build audiences and to make sure that when a promoter, a presenter, a consul, an opera house decides to book something through Askonas Holt or Opus 3, that they also will feel that they have behind them a system which will help to tell the story and to help bring audiences to that event. So I think there's to your point, I think the role of artist management is changing in that direction. And of course, it's not for every artist, but as you said, that's the trend.
Probably right. And actually, at Artelize, we have been analyzing that deeply. And I can see also from the recent panel that we hosted at you unfortunately couldn't attend, but still you were there because I delivered your amazing quote about collaborating on this. Exactly. And that was absolutely, eye-opening and inspiring. But many things came up, for example, from the recorded music industry. The vice president of Warner Classics, Marcus Peterson, said that they actually are flooded with data. So they started long ago to track, and they have humongous quantities of data that actually they have the opposite problem. They try to clean that up, but they know basically they can know everything. So we at Artelize are hoping to bring a little bit of that in the live space, because as you also told me, we have been relying very much on instincts and experience, and rightfully so. But now with this new media that we have it also in our daily life and common life. This is really like something that we need to take into consideration, and becoming a little bit more data driven, without killing the art, but actually supporting, as you were saying, to protect also this beautiful art form, because I know this is something also it's dear to your heart, right? And you told me that several times. So we actually exactly have this vision. Artelize was born with this vision of making things better. And so exactly, that's beautiful to see how this convergence of many different areas of our industry come basically to the same result and to the same awareness. And now we need to change. And you were also underlining how important is to be flexible and to adapt to this ever sort of evolving ecosystem. It's not just only now, right? It's really a mindset.
That's exactly right. I mean, first of all, I love that word instinct. And I don't think, and you haven't implied any of this at all, but we should never get away from those instincts too. Sometimes you just hear an artist who really makes you sit up. And let's face it, also we have great artists who we work for who will sometimes say to us, I heard this incredible piano player, watch out for this young conductor. I mean, that's gold dust for us. When we have such trust and such a close relationship with an artist who will recommend to us somebody else. And if Simon Rattle or Yannick Nézet-Séguin says to me, watch out for someone, I'm gonna listen. And no amount of data is gonna stop or help or push me on that. Having said all that, it's very interesting what you said about Warner, because I'm not sure that we have over the years ourselves been collecting data in this way, and I think that's something that we should be able to start to do in collaboration with companies such as Eurbis, that we need, as we begin to understand through our conversation today, the levers that drive our decisions are ever more multifaceted, and so to be able to access data about where audiences are going, what kind of repertoire audiences want to hear, what are the drivers, like why did this young artist in a particular city do so well? Why is this singer suddenly out of nowhere becoming such a fashion? Of course, the answer will always come down to artistic excellence, and to something about the newness or a new dimension that artist brings to the repertoire. But we, as an artist management company, of course, we want to be across those trends from an early stage. Of course, we want to understand, as the years progress, we want to understand what is it that the presenting community wants to present. I mean, we are that place between the artist and the presenters. We are trying to serve the market in that way, and therefore to serve our artists in the best way that we can. So data is absolutely at the center of that, and to be able to build our knowledge in that area is certainly very exciting for us. I'll admit something that we need to put more effort into in this next phase.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also to protect this beautiful, still very peculiar job of yours, which requires so many skills, human skills, that, as you were saying, will never be replaced. Let's be frank, we all know that. But actually, probably the data support could come in that measuring the engagement of the audience. So we're analyzing that also with the arts organizations as well. They tend to be stuck very much in the programming, which is absolutely essential and important. We know they are already excellent in that, and they can do that already. What's probably lacking, compared also to what Marcus Pedersen said, is the tracking of the audience. So what is the reaction, and how do you segment this audience? Because I have somebody that maybe reacts once in a while, and another one was full on, and he was gonna buy and 4 tickets at once, and I don't know, just follow you all over the world. And we have seen that actually happening also in the past. I mean, the great opera singers and musicians of the past were followed by crazy people all over the world already. So this hasn't changed. It's just that the capacity and maybe the reach can be broadened and can be faster, as you were also saying, through a digital infrastructure to just support and back up all this beautiful work of yours that, of course, you own, because it's, yeah, I can feel it, but also I know absolutely what you're talking about, because it's so clear from your experience and what you have been doing and your passion. So maybe what we should focus on, and that's also a research and a thought process that the arts organization are doing. It's maybe investigating more and listening more, or measuring, not to make it more arid, but just, or stiff. It's just a reality. Measure what happens with the audience to have an idea then on how exactly what works well and how to adjust.
Absolutely, and every territory, every country, every region of a country has a different perspective on the art forms that they more appreciate. And of course, we shouldn't just go down that road. We don't want to just feed a particular type of artist or type of art form to a particular area. But it's really good to, of course, measure it is the word you used. There's nothing wrong with measuring and understanding the science and data behind something,
Right.
rigor, and building from there. In terms of building out from that data to offer something which is complementary to what you might perceive to be the right product, for want of a better word, in a particular territory. But yeah, like I studied mechanical engineering in university. I'm never somebody to shy away from figures and numbers and data. I love all that, and if that can help us do our job well. I love what you said about about our job also being it's a very human job. It's
Yeah.
very intensive. It's not something that I think can be replaced by a machine, although of course the definition of machines
No,
will keep changing with AI technology.
it's gonna be
It's going to
different,
be
but
different.
it's
But
never gonna be that,
the
right? Yeah.
ability to garner trust and to work for a human being, and not just that, but a human being, to work for the human beings, there, to work for them as an artist, to work for them as somebody who wants to portray art, to sing. That's such a privilege, but it takes a lot of time and energy to be able, therefore, to advocate and represent that artist truly, and to keep a line with the artist that they know that they can trust you. So it's that incredible peculiarity, again, to use your word, of that job that we do, which is serving human beings, but also understanding the market and being across, as you said, the future trends and future technologies. So we need to bring all those things into this one place, and have the confidence to do that going forwards.
Yes, I totally agree. And Donagh, I already thank you because you shared with us so much gold, and I think it's super exciting because at the same time we came out of this period that was pretty dark and saddening, obviously, and still is for many reasons that we all know. But these perspectives really bring a new energy, new life. Also, I'm thinking about the new audiences, the new artists, but also to the previous one. I mean, the artist always needs to, the world of performing arts always need this fresh thinking, fresh, injection of energy and inspiration. So that is absolutely amazing. And so I would like to end this with a little question, just a little imaginative exercise. It's like, if you were to imagine, since you're also an engineer, so if you were to imagine an infrastructure exactly for your purposes, for example, a tech infrastructure, how would you even picture that? Because I have noticed that people cannot even picture that, and that's when we say a tech infrastructure, there's sort of a void. So, what do you actually picture?
Uh,
Do you have an
well,
image or something?
in a way, what we've done in the last couple of years is we have built quite an infrastructure now, as we started by talking about today. Where we're trying to create this Venn diagram overlap between the educational space, the recording space, the managing of artists. As it were, we're really in the cold phase of the actuality of performing, negotiating contracts, fees, understanding where the artists can and can't be every day of the week. The recording space, of course, understanding better the streaming world, and all that has changed so quickly in that space, and for the better too, in terms of people being able to access music. And then, of course, the educational space, which is the next generation. It's the teachers.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, it's also, at least in the American market, it's also a place of the ability to fundraise for the next generation of student, and for being able to create work within that environment. And if so, you can also overlay, or you can imagine a blanket around that structure, which also brings to bear what we've talked about today, just bringing together the social channels and the social interactions across all of the media channels, which all of those constituencies have and will have, and also putting around this infrastructure data-driven decision-making capability, and exactly to the point of this conversation today, that would also therefore help us to decide the artists that we think will be successful in the future, the reach that those artists will have in the future, and to serve the promotion community and what they want to bring to their audiences, and therefore ultimately bringing to audiences of the future the artists that they will want to listen to in the future. So I can see that infrastructure beginning to fall in place. I've learned certainly a lot through my colleagues, as I mentioned, Sean Hickey at Pentatum, David Stowe, who's the president of the Conservatory in San Francisco.
Yes.
My colleagues at Opus 3 here, and at Askonas Holt. We're beginning to share a lot of different perspectives and different cultures that I think will also help us to build these additional dimensions to what we want to do in the next phase.
Yeah, exactly. And that's absolutely beautiful, because it's like the other way compared to how it started in Artelize. You came really from, of course, so many aspects of the industry. We came from basically the tech side, right? Out,
We can meet
even
in
though
the
we
middle.
have, as you, yes, exactly. But that's very true, and it's very nice because from our perspective, what we noticed was that the information was sort of out there, but super scattered and not always accurate and inconsistent. So it was really
Right.
unstructured. So what we're trying to do is exactly that. So to bring a little bit of organization structure so that you input data and then you get it from the system, from the AI, as well as you were mentioning, as a tool. And that's also a very, very important thing I would like to mention, that AI as a tool and not as a
Right.
replacement of human being. I think that's very important as well. So we embrace that in Artelize as well. And so that you actually get a help, which is quicker, efficient. Okay, read for me these data that I just acquired in my multiple experiences. What do I get? This is the picture of the situation right now. Wow, fantastic. I'm sure people like you would explode with ideas, right? By seeing what is
Absolutely.
happening. And so I actually am very, very positive in, and I can't wait to see what's going to be coming out of this. But I believe it's very promising as well. Yeah.
Me too. So thank you very much. And as you know, I'm very interested to continue our conversations and potential collaborations together. So thank you very much.
Yes. So thank you so much, Donna, again for the super gold content that you share with us. And it's a great pleasure of always to talk to you also on a human level. I want to stress that because we talked about the human side, and that's super important when we are mentioning the performing arts, because that's without a human being, you cannot have that,
That's
right?
exactly it. That's exactly it. Thank you.
So maybe one very last little thing that you want to drop, and then we're good.
No, all I want to do is remind people that we're here at the service of artists and of the art form, and all we want to do is to bring together all of the potential and potentiality of what we can do going forward. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Donna.
Artelize, the world of performing arts in one location.